Hello, namaste, salam everyone. My name is Kuldip Gadhvi, and I'm founder of a small project called United Artisans of Kutch, which is a like artisans collaborative project that we have started about 6 or 7 years ago. And the whole idea behind this project is to team up, use our common resources network, and help lifting each other, and try to bring a voice of ground artisan on the ground, the lesser known artisans, to the national and global audience, so people can learn about the reality of artisans' life or the circumstances of life, and hopefully we could collaborate and grow together as a team. So that's what we've been doing. I'd like to introduce. I'm gonna move a camera a little bit so you can see people and their faces. So we had a little kid. He's the son of Mamadbhai, and Mamadbhai is one of the bell maker from Zura village. So we got him. Namaste, salam, well, I think would it be nice that if I ask them to introduce themselves? Okay, and they can speak in Hindi, right? Okay. તો તમે હિન્દીમાં તમારો પરિચય આપી શકો છો, તમારું નામ અને તમારું કામ અને ગામ. જી.
મારું નામ મોહમ્મદ જાકબ છે. હું કોપરબેલ આર્ટિઝન છું. મારું ગામ ઝુરા છે.
हिंदी प्लीज.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम आरिफ भाई वंकर है और मैं हैंडलूम वीवर हूँ और मैं भुजोड़ी से हूँ. नमस्ते, मैं मशरूम वीवर हूँ और मशरूम का काम करता हूँ.
Hello, I am Samad Maheshwari from Nanaraya village. I am met head of artisan.
Hello everyone, my name is Vankar Pajan Premji, and my art is weaving. My brand name is Three Thread.
Hello, this is Kunjal Bhausar, a small entrepreneur working and designing to promote the artisans of Kutch and making apparels for women. Hello.
Hello, I am Kajal Danija. I am making crochet from threads. Thank you.
हेलो, मेरा नाम दक्षा है. मैं टसल मेकर हूँ और मैं भुजोड़ी से.
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम रसीला बेन हरीश भाई वाणकर है. मैं भी वीविंग करती हूँ. मैं भुजोड़ी से हूँ. नमस्ते.
Hello, namaste. My name is Amrita. I come from Bhuj. I have passed the 12th. My art is mushroom.
Okay, so all these artisans are with us, and we have invited few other friends of us, as you got to know them, because we wanted to make it as collaborative as possible. So I think that's why we have some people who are part of United Artisans of Kutch, and the others who are also doing similar work. So we thought it's nice to give a voice. Again, as we say, the title is Voices of Artisans. So we want to hear everyone's voice on this session, on this episode. Since we are celebrating this cultural IP month and in the direction of human rights, as IP is a human right. So I think let me share a bit of idea that why cultural IP is a human rights. Because like what we talk about cultural IP, all these different artisans from different backgrounds who are representing different communities, different handicrafts, and they are part of this globe society. And their presence, as we say in our language, they are custodians of arts and craft, and they are the one. I mean, many of them, like them, on the ground in different parts of the world, who are still struggling to meet their basic human rights. So I think while we, all of us, like including all of you out there, since we are working for cultural IP and trying to work and bring the voices of artisans to the world, so people get to know them better and their circumstances better. And by addressing these issues or realities on the ground, if we can mitigate, I think this is how we are going to ensure human rights for people who are working in arts and craft in different corners of the world. And that is not only limited to artisans, but it is a chain of people. So it is like artisans, the makers, the resellers, the designers, NGOs, the government, and also like people like us, like cultural IP. So there are like many people, like key players in the whole subjects. And we are trying, to team up to bridge the gap so we can understand each other better and make it more transparent and genuine, so we all can help one another. So that's the whole idea. Now give me a 1 minute so I can translate a little bit for my team. Thank you. आज पाण कल्चरल आईपी એટલે પાંચ की जे पाण परंपरागत जे नॉलेज है, ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज जी ॻाल्हि कयूं था, वण कमु आहे, लोहारी कमु आहे, जेकी छेड़ी चप्पू जो कमु आहे, क्रोशे जेकी पाण आहे, हाणे ई नॉलेज अहिड़ो आहे कि ही कंहिंखे रस्ता अॼु बताए न सघिजे। हाणे ई संस्था आहे, डॉक्यूमेंट आहे, सर्टिफिकेट आहे, उहो त ई पाण चओ न पाण वॾा लोही में आहे। हाणे ई जे नॉलेज आहे न, ई कोई बि माण्हू वटि दुनिया में ई जे नॉलेज आहे, हिन जी क़ीमत वॾी आहे। ही नॉलेज थकी पंहिंजो शुरूआत पंहिंजे थी सभ्यता सिविलाइजेशन जो अंग्रेजी माण्हू धीमे धीमे सिविलाइज ई थिया माण्हू नॉलेज थकी पण जो नॉलेज समाज में कंट्रीब्यूट कयो आहे थकी पंहिंजे सॼी दुनिया एतिरी वॾी थी। हाणे तारीख़ अहिड़ी पुॼी कि जेकी माण्हू हिन जा वठा हुआ पंहिंजी परंपरा खे, पंहिंजे नॉलेज खे, हाणे अॼु हिन जा हक़ ते कॾहिं तकलीफ़ आहे। दुनिया वो अॻियां वधी है, वो आधुनिक थी मशीन अची वियो हुते हाणे पाण हिन में चए पंहिंजो जेकी आहे ई मानव अधिकार जी ॻाल्हि कयूं कि मानव अधिकार कोन जो आहे, माण्हू जो जीअ जा प्राथमिक अधिकार हुए, कोई भी माण्हू हुए, किथे बि देश जो हुए, किथे बि क़ौम जो हुए, हिन जो जो न कि प्राथमिक मूलभूत अधिकार ई दिशा जी पंहिंजी चर्चा आहे कि पंहिंजो जेकी अनुभव नॉलेज जेकी आहे ई दिशा में कीअं ते आहे, पाण खे कीअं खणी वञिणो आहे। हाणे ई जी पाण जेकी माणे टीम में रही माने संस्था वाला रहा कि कोई सरकार रही कि पा कारीगर रहा, जेकी पाण अलग अलग माण्हू माने भेड़ा थींदे त पाण हिन जो के सॉल्यूशन कंदासीं, हिन में निचोड़ निकिरंदो कि हिक ॿिए से वाक़ुफ़ थींदा कि किथे पाण अॻियां आहियूं, किथे पुठियां आहियूं, कोई वस्तु आहे जंहिंमें अधूरास आहे, पाण माने भेड़ा थी चर्चा कई न त हिन जो के निकाल अचंदो अने ॿिए माण्हू खे पाण ॾिसा ॾेई सघंदासीं। जी, थैंक यू। So I think let's make it as we say, voices of artisans. So I think why don't we start any of you from the panel, from the online panel, to start like asking some questions, and we can invite any of the artisans who feel comfortable to answer those questions or share their experience or anything else. So I think let's utilize the best use of time that we have today. Because I really wish that all these artisans who we have invited, they get at least chance to say something, what they've been holding for generations. And we have very few opportunities like this when their voices can be heard to the global audience. So that's the whole idea of today's episode. Thank you.
What is their understanding of like cultural IP rights, or how even rights are perceived by them? Like, do they know about this, and if they know, what is their understanding of this whole concept?
Okay, let me try.
Yeah.
हाणे पूछे था कि जे कल्चरल आईपी जो आई है तो कपा जो पाण नथी कले न कहिड़ो है त मरे जा मोढा त साल हाणे कल्चरल आईपी वैसे आजी को समझ जाए। हाणे कल्चरल आईपी के पाण गुजराती में जे वधु वधु नजीक ट्रांसलेशन की कई सकदासीं, जीअं कि चऊं कि पाण वटि जेकी अमुक वस्तु जे संस्कृति है, जे वारसो आहे, संस्कृति जो वारसो रहियो, बराबरि आहे। हाणे ही पंहिंजो हक़ आहे। अॼु दुनिया में अहिड़ो थियो आहे कि माने ई वारसे जो लाभ घणी ॿिया माण्हू अॻियां वञे पिया, तरक़ी कनि पिया, पर हाणे जे वारसो साची वेठा आहिनि। हाणे हिन जो वारसे जो न कंहिंजो कोई मिसयूज़ न थिए, कम से कम जे माण्हू हिन जो रक्षण कई वेठा आहिनि जेकी कम्यूनिटी ते, त हिन मथां की तव्हांखे समझ रहे, तव्हांजो अनुभव हुए की पण ॻाल्हि हुए ऐं ॻाल्हि कही सघो था, प्रश्न पूछी सघो था, की शेयर करणो है। I think I'm also making it very easier for them, because like we don't want to like ask as an interrogation that one question, one answer. So if they also have any questions to share or anything to say, I think let's make it easier. Because you know, like when we translate cultural IP in our language, it's quite challenging for us. Because it's like, you know, like, we know that we've been custodians, but if somebody asks that how, I think it would be difficult for us to explain it. It's like, you know, the contribution of farmers or contribution of cattle herders or contribution of any handicraft makers for the whole mankind, for the whole civilization is enormous. but they might not be able to speak it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think let's try to make it as I don't know, smooth. Umeshwari?
Maybe I have an idea. Actually, I remember after I visited, Hetvi also visited the same artisans as me. And I think the questions she might have asked were very much to the legal perspective. And I attended as a designer. So I remember connecting with her to, because we were talking to the same people at the same time. So I thought it was very interesting. For me, it was an important to get her views, because she had visited the same people and the same artisans I was working with. As designers, even though you're trying to be more aware and being trying to follow the 3C rule and all of that, you get very much involved with the design process. So maybe Kuldip bhai, you could ask them how was their experience talking to Hetvi and talking to me. Was there something they missed out as while communicating with a designer when it comes to human rights? And could they understand what Hetvi was trying to help them out with regarding IP or GIs or something like that? Maybe if that could simplify.
Okay, may I suggest something? As much as I know my friends around here, and when we're talking about the cultural IP in the direction of human rights, so I think let's make it simplify. If I may ask them, like something like, as a human rights, what in Gujarat, Mamadbhai, where they stand, or what they are lacking, or how they see themselves as artisans on this bigger subject in a bigger globe, that how they feel as an artisan, or what are the challenges they've been facing, because I think that's something that nobody asked them. So I think let's start with the challenges, because that's the most important thing that I really wish that they can speak confidently. So at least we know as a team, we know that what are the challenges on the ground for different people and different custodians.
Yeah, we do have a question which is similar to that from one of our audiences. That for the first question actually is, I'd love to hear what respectful co-creation means to the artisans. So if they were to work with a brand or a designer, what is the best way to build relationship or connection with them? That's the first question.
Okay, let's start with that. That's a good question to start with. Okay, let's
start with that.
આપણે co-creation કહીએ છીએ કે જોઈ ભેગા થઈ કારીગર અને ડિઝાઇનર અથવા કારીગર અથવા બિઝનેસ મળે ભેગા થઈને જે કઈ co-creation ભેગો થઈને ટીમ વર્ક કરી, તો એના વિશે તમારો શું અનુભવ છે અથવા તો સજેશન તમારો, અથવા કોઈ પણ આ પ્રશ્ન સમજી શક્યો હોય જવાબ દેવા માંગુ છું, પ્લીઝ. આપણે કોઈ પણ ડિઝાઇનર છે એની સાથે co-creation કર્યું છે, તો એના વિશે તમારો અનુભવ કે સમજ કે કાંઈ પણ કહેવાનું છે.
જે આપણે
ગુજરાતમાં કહેજો, આપણા ઉમેશ્વરી બેન છે અને હું એ છું, અમે હેલ્પ કરશું ઇંગ્લિશમાં ટ્રાન્સલેટ.
કેમ છો? તમારી સાથે જ આપણે ગયા વર્ષે આપણે કર્યું હતું ડિઝાઇનિંગ સાથે, તો એમાં બહુ એવું સારું રહ્યું કે જે અમારી ડિઝાઇન હતી અને તમારું પણ કલર કોમ્બિનેશન અને સાથે સાથે બીજી નવી ડિઝાઇનો હતી, એ બધા સાથે મળીને એક નવી ડિઝાઇન થઈ અને અમને પણ એમાં શીખવા મળ્યું કે કલર કોમ્બિનેશન કેવી રીતે કરવું અને ક્યાં ક્યાં ડિઝાઇન કેવી રીતે ક્યાં ક્યાં મૂકવી. તો એ ડિઝાઇનર અને કારીગર સાથે જે મળી થાય છે એ બહુ સારું રહ્યું આમાં.
Okay. Umeshwari Ben, can you help us in translation?
So Harish bhai just talked about our collaboration in the past 1 year, and like we kind of came up with new designs. Like he showed me all the traditional designs that they use, all the traditional techniques that they he taught me all the basic traditional knowledge of how they weave and how mushroom or kala cotton is woven. And with that we try to explore new patterns, new ways of doing, creating new designs, or just using the traditional motifs and also trying to make new color ways. We work with a lot of natural dyeing. And so he said that it was fun trying new things, and he got to learn something new in the process. And thank you, Harish bhai. સાંભળીને સારું લાગ્યું કે આપને મારા સાથે કામ કરીને ગમ્યું. આગળ બી આપણે નવું કંઈક ને કંઈક ટ્રાય કરશું.
Okay, I like to share something here because, when we talk about collaboration with the artisans on the ground, so many times, because since we are working as a team, United Artisans of Kutch, so out of 100, like more than 95 people come up with their own design or ideas, and then they ask artisans on the ground to execute it for them. So they're like NGOs, they're businesses, they're designers, and so on. So all those people, who comes after the artisans. So there are people from that background of understanding of craft. They come and they 95%, 90 to 95% of them come with their own ideas, own design, own business, whatever they have in their mind, and they ask artisans to execute for them. While we, like on the ground, like all of us, we would feel much comfortable that if we understand or we can explain what we are comfortable with, or what we can say, or what we can't do, or something like. So many times we have seen that in past, and that's why we couldn't been able to collaborate with some designers or art businesses, because they have their own set like kind of guideline, and they want us to follow that rather than them being flexible and understand our circumstances, our diversity, and our ground reality. So I think what Umeshwari and Harish bhai did was our first experience, because we went to the sourcing the yarn, we went to check the market, the pricing and availability of Kala cotton, the organic cotton. And then she, as a zero waste designer, let's say, she on the ground taught us, like all of us, like what zero waste is from her studies, from her experience, from her background. So I think for us on the ground, I think it was the most collaborative. So I think that's what we wish that happens more. But also, we also like to invite some other artisans in this question if they have something to share. The collaboration जी गाला है इनमें था के कोई भी लगे तो कोई भी डिजाइनर है, बिजनेस है, एनजीओ है, इनमें आज कोई अनुभव है, अधूरस है, कि सजेशन है, इनमें तक कहीं चीज को प्लीज कोई भी प्लीज सर आगे ले आओ, आज मोटो दसा जेके जवाब देनो है मोस्ट वेलकम. આપણે અમારે ઘર જાણીઓ કે સજો ફેમિલી એન્વાયરમેન્ટ आहे, बिंदास गाल करनी है.
અમે જે 2016 માં કો ડિઝાઇન કરેલ છે વિસ્કોન્સિન યુનિવર્સિટી સાથે, અને એમની સાથે મેં 3 કોલેબોરેશન કર્યા છે એઝ એ આર્ટિઝન એન્ડ સ્ટુડન્ટ. તો એ લોકોએ અમને જે લેઆઉટ બનાવીને મોકલ્યા, પછી અમે થીમ સિલેક્ટ કરી અને કલેક્શન બનાવવાનું હતું. પછી એ લોકોને અમે समझाव्યું.
आप हिंदी में कर सकते हैं? सॉरी कि हमारे साथ कोई है जो हिंदी में उसको ट्रांसलेट भी कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू.
तो जैसे मैंने आपको बताया को डिजाइन का, तो को डिजाइन हमने विस्कॉन्सिन यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ किया है और मेक्सिको के साथ भी किया है. तो मैंने पहले मैं यूएस विस्कॉन्सिन के बारे में आपको बता दूं. तो हमने वो को डिजाइन ऐसे किया कि वहाँ स्टूडेंट थे, यहाँ पे आर्टिजन थे. तो हमने को डिजाइन किया, एक थीम सिलेक्ट की दोनों ने, फिर उसके ऊपर लेआउट बने और हमने भी बनाए, उन्होंने बनाए. तो फिर उन्होंने डिजाइन स्टार्ट किया. तो जो भी डिजाइन उन्होंने बनाई वो सब ऑर्गेनिक फॉर्म में थी, और जो हमारे मोटिव हैं वो ज्योमेट्रिक शेप में है. फिर हमने उनको ट्रेडिशनल समझाया, भाई हमारा ट्रेडिशनल ये है और ये हम करते आ रहे हैं, और इससे हम ये हमारा दायरा उससे बाहर नहीं जाएंगे, क्योंकि वो हमारी आइडेंटिटी है. उससे बाहर जाएंगे तो कोई कस्टमर खरीदेगा नहीं. तो फिर हमने उनको जो ट्रेडिशनल मोटिव है या ट्रेडिशन के बारे में समझाया, तो उनको विजन समझ में आया एक्चुअली ट्रेडिशनल क्या है. तो ऐसे करके हमने फिर उनको ट्रेडिशनल मोटिव्स पे फोटो भेजे, फिर उन्होंने लेआउट बना के प्लेसमेंट करके उन्होंने कुछ फोटोज भेजे और हमने फोटोज भेजे. फिर दोनों लेआउट को कंबाइन करके एक नया प्रोडक्ट निकला, जो कि एक हमारे लिए भी एक अच्छा रहा. क्योंकि यूजली क्या रहा, अब तक जो हम आर्टिजन लोग काम कर रहे हैं, बाहर से डिजाइनर आ रहा है, वो डिजाइन दे रहा है और हम काम कर रहे हैं. तो इस बार इसलिए नया हुआ क्योंकि हमने खुद ने डिजाइन बनाई, और वो दोनों का जो आइडिया था एक मिलके निकला, तो वो कुछ अलग निकला. उसके हिसाब से मार्केट भी अच्छे तरह से मिल रहा है.
थैंक यू सो मच.
I'll translate this real quick. So, how he was mentioning about the co-design process, and one of the examples that he gave is that they worked and co-designed with some students from the University of Wisconsin, and what they did that they got a piece of cloth, for example, and the artisans gave their traditional motifs, told them what their traditional motifs are, and the students from there they also gave their kind of designs, and somewhere in between all of that both of them tried to collaborate and come up with a new pattern. But even then the artisans told them that, see, these are our traditional designs and motifs, and this is kind of our limit and how we would like to work in. And that was respected from them, from their end also. They did not push and impose their designs over here. Instead they worked together and came up with like a new kind of a design where both of them could kind of collaborate equally and have both the knowledge come together very nicely and weave together very nicely. So that was also one of the ways that they co-designed with University of Wisconsin. They've also done something similar with people in Mexico, is what he's also mentioned.
Thank you, sir, for translating. Can I ask a relevant question to some of the individuals if they want to answer? That what are the challenges that they are still facing when they are working with other designers? So I think that's what for us, for the global audience, it will be nice learning to hear their voices. That what are the challenges they think that they are facing when they work with outsiders or any designers?
In fact, that is one of the questions already here by Jessica. It says that, are you experiencing any challenges in your collaborations with businesses or designers? If yes, what are these challenges and how would you like to address them?
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Jessica. હવે આપણે કોઈ પણ કોલેબોરેટ કરીએ, કોઈ પણ ડિઝાઇનર આપણી સાથે કામ કરવા માંગે છે, ત્યારે આપણે જે કંઈ ચેલેન્જ હોય ગ્રાઉન્ડના લેવલે કારીગર તરીકે, એવી કોઈ પણ ચેલેન્જ તમારા અનુભવમાં થઈ હોય કોઈ પણ, તો તમે એને કહી શકો છો આપણા ગ્રુપ સાથે. અને તમે બધા થોડા ખુલીને બોલજો, જ્યારે પછી ફૂંકાની હોય, મેળવણી હોય, કાર્પેટની હોય, કે તમારી કોઈ પણ હોય, તમારે ખાસ કરી તમારું અલગ યુનિક કામ છે છેલ ચપ્પુનું, તો તમને પણ એ કોઈ ડિઝાઇન મળી હોય અને તમને એમાં કોઈ ચેલેન્જ લાગી હોય તમારા અનુભવથી, તો પ્લીઝ બધા તમે કોઈ સાથે કામ કર્યું હોય, કોલેબોરેટ કર્યું હોય અને તમને કોઈ પણ એમ લાગે કે આ ડિઝાઇનર કોઈ ધંધાવાળા કે કોઈ પણ જે લોકો તમને કામ આપે, આઈડિયા આપે, નવી ડિઝાઇન આપે, તમને કોઈ પણ એમાં મુશ્કેલી કે અડચણ એવું કાંઈ પણ તમારા મતે, તો પ્લીઝ તમે કંઈક કહેવા માંગો છો? તમે ક્યારે કામ કર્યું છે કોઈ ડિઝાઇન સાથે? નથી કર્યું. તમે દક્ષાબેન કોઈ એમ કીધું કે આવી ડિઝાઇન કે આવું ખપે છે, તમે કોઈના ડિઝાઇન આવી છે? અચ્છા અચ્છા, કોઈ તમે ભાઈ પ્રકાશભાઈ એવી કોઈ અહીં આવી જાઓ વચમાં. Okay, we have one carpet weaver, Prakashbhai. He has something to share about any challenge or anything. Can you please say introduce yourself in Hindi, please?
मेरा नाम प्रकाश सीजू है और मैं भुजोड़ी गांव से हूँ और मैं कारपेट वीवर हूँ। तो और मैंने यहाँ पे एक एनजीओ है, वहाँ पे डिजाइनिंग का कोर्स किया हुआ है। तो ये कोर्स करने के बाद और उससे पहले जब हम किसी के साथ काम करते थे तो उसमें बहुत सारा डिफरेंस था। जैसे मुझसे पहले बचान भाई ने बात किया कि हमने को डिजाइन किया हुआ है, तो मैंने भी वो को डिजाइन किए हुए हैं, आउटरीच प्रोग्राम्स किए हुए हैं। तो को डिजाइन में ऐसा होता था कि पहले जब हम काम करते थे किसी डिजाइनर के साथ, तो वो जो भी बनाते थे, जो भी लेआउट्स वगैरह है या पेपर वर्क जो भी करते थे, वो हमारे पास ले आते थे और हमको कहते थे कि ये पीस, ये हमने डिजाइन बनाया है, ये आपकी लूम के ऊपर बनाना है। तो जो उसमें पॉसिबिलिटी हुई या जिस तरह का जो बना वो हम बना के उनको दे देते। तो हमने ये को डिजाइन किए। उसके बाद ऐसा हुआ कि अब जो कोई भी डिजाइनर है या भी आर्टिजन्स हैं या कोई भी ऐसे जो हमारे साथ काम करना चाहते हैं, ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं, तो अब हम उनके साथ काम करते हैं तो एज ए कोलैबोरेटिवली काम करते हैं। कुछ उनके विचार हैं या उनके कुछ आइडियाज हैं, उनको लेते हैं, साथ में हमारे भी आइडियाज उनको देते हैं कि ये है, ये चीजें आपकी है और इसमें हम हमारी ये चीजें डालेंगे, तो कुछ उसमें आपका और हमारा दोनों का इन्वॉल्वमेंट रहेगा और कुछ नई चीज बन के आएगी। तो इस तरह हम एज ए कोलैबोरेटिवली काम करते हैं, दोनों के आइडियाज को मैच करते हैं और फिर हम प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं। पहले ऐसे ही प्रोडक्ट बना देते थे, जैसे उन्होंने कुछ लेआउट्स दिए, हमने लूम के ऊपर काम किया और बना के दे दिया। और उसमें एक प्रॉब्लम्स वो आते थे कि जैसे एज कुछ कोई नए जो डिजाइनर है या कुछ डिजाइन के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उनको वीविंग का नॉलेज नहीं होता था कि वीविंग में कच्छ की जो वीविंग है उसकी क्या खासियत है, उसमें क्या क्या प्रोसेस होते हैं। तो वो उनको नहीं होता था, तो वो जो भी उनको मन में जो भी मजा आया या उनकी कुछ अच्छी ड्राइंग हुई वो हमारे पास ले आते थे और वो कहते थे कि ऐसा बनाना है। तो वो फिर पॉसिबल नहीं होता था। जैसे कि कभी कभार ऐसे होते हैं कि वो कुछ भी लेआउट बनाते हैं उसमें राउंड राउंड बना देते हैं या फ्लोर बना देते हैं। तो ये ज्योमेट्रिकल पैटर्न, मतलब कि ये फ्लोरल पैटर्न हमारे लूम में तो पॉसिबल है नहीं। हमारे लूम है वो ग्राफिकल काम करते हैं, जैसे ताना बाना हो गया तो वो ग्राफ में जैसे होता है उस तरह होता है। तो फिर वो नहीं होता था, तो फिर हम उनके साथ काम नहीं करते। फिर जैसे अगर अब कोई ऐसे डिजाइनर या स्टूडेंट्स हमारे साथ काम करते हैं तो उनको हम पूरी प्रोसेस हमारी समझाते हैं, क्या क्या प्रोसेस होती है, किस तरह उसमें वीविंग होती है, किस तरह मोटिव्स बनते हैं, वो सब उनको बताते हैं। तो उनको भी वो आइडियाज लगते हैं कि अब इनकी हमारी जो कच्छ की वीविंग है उसमें क्या क्या पॉसिबिलिटी है। तो वो उस तरह लेआउट्स बनाते हैं, उस तरह डिजाइन क्रिएट करते हैं और फिर हमारे हमको वो लेआउट्स बनाते हैं, बताते हैं कि अब ये करना है। तो फिर हम उनको आइडियाज देते हैं कि ये है, इसमें इतना चेंजेस करेंगे तो वो अच्छा हो जाएगा। तो फिर दोनों का वो विचार होते हैं, उसमें मर्ज होते हैं, फिर नया लेआउट बनता है और उसके ऊपर काम करते हैं। तो फिर अब उस जो भी पीस बनता है उस दोनों में, उस पीस में दोनों के विचार रहते हैं, दोनों के कुछ आइडियाज रहते हैं और नया क्रिएशन होता है। तो वो उनको भी काम आता है और इन फ्यूचर हमें भी वो काम आता है। तो इस तरह भी हम काम करते हैं।
थैंक यू।
तो सबसे पहले वही चैलेंज था कि पहले वो जो भी ले आते थे वो पॉसिबल नहीं होता था, तो उसके साथ काम नहीं होता। लेकिन अब उसमें चेंजेस हुआ है तो उनके साथ हम एज ए कोलैबोरेटिवली काम कर सकते हैं।
Thank you so much, Prakash bhai. Shravani, over to you.
So, as it was mentioned already before, that one of the major challenges that they had is usually designers or businesses would come to them and give them a particular design and tell them that this is what we would like you to do, or like come and do for us. But in that whole process, the designers or businesses, or even sometimes students, as he has mentioned, would not understand that there are certain restrictions and certain ways in which the loom operates, and there are certain designs which are possible on the loom, certain graphics and certain geometrical patterns that are only possible to be made on the loom. So that was what used to happen a lot of times, because of which there were a lot of collaborations that couldn't happen, that they were not able to do with the artisans and the businesses. But slowly they've also seen that with certain people that they've collaborated with, it was like a full collaboration where they sit with the artisans and understand the process of the artisans and what are the possibilities that they can do and come out with in terms of the designs. And once the designers and businesses understand the process and the whatever ways, whatever motifs are possible by the artisans, only then they come up with their designs, and then they sit with the artisans, finalize the designs, and that's how the final process is done, and how they come out with their designs, how the artisans then final work with their designs. So that's what they're saying, if they do have to address this challenge, it will be more like a proper equal collaboration where the processes of the artisans and the restrictions, if there are any, are also understood by the business and are not just given and imposed on them.
Okay, may I add something here? Because,
Yes.
like even in 2023, the ratio, from my experience of touring people, like who are like designers and visitors who are working with arts and craft, because that's what my business is, right? Touring people around. So I think from my experience, I can confidently say that the ratio of healthy or equal collaboration is still less than 20%. So what Prakash Bhai and Pachan Bhai shared about their equal opportunity, sharing design ideas, collaborator, or what Umeshwari and Harish Bhai did last year, is still less than 20% of artisan story. 80% of artisans are missing out on many potential collaboration because outsiders people, whether they are students, designers, or businesses, they still have very little knowledge about complexity of particular arts and craft technique, or the financial and social circumstances under which these artisans are functioning. So when we say the custodians, So many people come and start talking about design, colors, idea, blah, blah, blah. But we are so limited with our product designing. We are still not talking enough about social design, cultural design, economical circumstances, because these all are part of this craft, of the product, and it affects the artisan's life and all the potential collaboration. So I think as a tour operator, what we do for my business or for the project United Artisans of Kutch, we try to educate visitors on the ground with the artisans about the challenges in under which they functions, because that's the most important thing for any outsiders, any designers or any collaborator, that to know the artisans beyond the art or beyond the craft. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuldip. We have one more question from Sucharita. Thank you, Sucharita, for congratulating us. But if you are able to translate the question yourself and ask the question yourself in Hindi to Kuldip, then that will be great. Then we can have a more conversation flowing from there. So if possible, you can ask them yourself.
Hi, Shivani. Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to ask them. I can try to ask a question to them. So I wanted to know, मेरा question था कि आप जब बाहर का डिजाइनर्स के साथ काम करते हैं, तब कोई मतलब कोई कल्चर डिजाइन थिफ्ट, मतलब कुछ डिजाइन आपका कुछ ट्रेडिशनल डिजाइन रहा है, बाहर का कोई डिजाइनर आके अगर वो सेम डिजाइन कॉपी करके लेके चले गए और डिफरेंट तरीके से वो प्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट कर दिया, और ऐसे कोई प्रॉब्लम आप लोग कभी फेस कर चुके हैं? आपका कोई ट्रेडिशनल डिजाइन आपके साथ बात करके देख के अगर वैसे डिजाइन कोई कॉपी करने की कोशिश किया, ऐसा कभी हुआ है? और आप लोग अपने डिजाइन को कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं, और आप लोगों का क्या ख्याल है इसके बारे में?
थैंक यू. याद है आई ओके गाल पश्चिम बंगाल जी गाल हुई है तेनी कोई अॻियां वधिया नहीं गाल के ई प्रश्न सुनिए समझिया ने कि पांजी कोई डिजाइन जी कॉपी थई वे और पांजो परंपरागत मोटिव पे सिंबल वे अथवा जेकी प्रोडक्ट है डिजाइन है पांजी परंपरागत ऐं जी कोई बाला जो माण्हू कॉपी कया वे, अहिड़ो कोई अनुभव थियो हुए अथवा अहिड़ी कोई चैलेंज आई हुई, अहिड़ो कोई वाक़ियो के ये प्रश्न पूछे था? प्लीज अड़े आ जाओ, हिंदी में ट्राई कीजिए. हाँ आपण वांधो ना अड़े आ जाओ सामने અને કઈક હિન્દીમાં ટ્રાય કરો, બરાબર? જી આજો અનુભવ है. हाँ પણ ના ગણે વગર જો જતે જેથી કરીને પાકે એવું નથી કે બરાબર हिंदी में. हाँ जी. ये मोहम्मद भाई है जो बेल मेकर है, उनके साथ ऐसा कुछ सिमिलर एक्सपीरियंस हुआ था जिसका उन्हें बोलते हैं ना कड़वा अनुभव, तो वो थोड़ा शेयर करना चाहते हैं. मैंने उनको रिक्वेस्ट किया है कि भाई किसी का व्यक्तिगत नाम ना लीजिए प्लीज, क्योंकि ये रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है. शुक्रिया जी.
मेरे फादर ने सारेगामा पधनिसा का पूरा सेटअप बनाया था, जो अलग अलग डिजाइन में नक्शी काम किया हुआ था, तो वो अवार्ड के लिए भेजा था. तो अवार्ड मिलने वाला था लेकिन किसी ने कॉपी करके वहां भेज दिया, तो उनको वो अवार्ड मिल गया.
ये बता रहे हैं कि इनके पिताजी ने बैल बनाए थे, हैंडमेड बैल, जिसके ऊपर नक्शी काम की थी, और अवार्ड की कोई कंपटीशन के लिए भेजा था उन्होंने ये पूरा सेट, लेकिन किसी और ने वो उसका कॉपी बनाकर अवार्ड ले लिया. तो इनसे ये बड़ी, इनके पिताजी से ये बड़ी नाइंसाफी हुई. जो किसी आर्टिस्ट ने कुछ मेहनत करके कुछ बनाया था और उनको एक्सपेक्टेशन थी कि वो शायद वो अवार्ड जीते, लेकिन किसी और ने, किसी क्राफ्टी पर्सन करके नाम हासिल कर लिया.
I'll quickly translate that. So he had a personal experience where he's a bell maker and does carvings on the bells, for example. And his father had this experience where he made this particular bell with the carvings, and he sent it for an award, for like a nomination for the award, but someone else copied the design and got the award. So I mean they couldn't really do much about it. And कुलदीप भाई अगर आप पूछ सकते हैं कि उसके बाद उन्होंने कुछ किया, कुछ कर सकते किया, उन्होंने ट्राई किया या क्या हुआ उसके बाद, वो भी आप एक बार एक्सपीरियंस
हिंदी में
शेयर
गाल के खुली निकाल
I'm asking if you know what is something, if they try to do something after that, or
कोई आम
you
बोलो
know, what happened after basically.
उसके बाद मैं हैंडीक्राफ्ट ऑफिस में भी गया था, अर्जी दे के आया था वहाँ पे कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ है, जो हमारी बेल्ट थी वो हमने बेची थी, उसके बाद अवार्ड व्यापारी को मिल गया है। अगर वो व्यापारी नौजवान है, 25 साल का है, वो बना सकता है तो पूरा वीडियो दिखाइए, नहीं तो 60 साल का बुजुर्ग बना के दिखाएगा अभी। तो उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया अभी तक।
हाँ
He said that you did visit the handicrafts office and told them that you know this is something that is actually paid by my father. So if it's possible, this 25-year-old person who did win the award, could you ask them to actually make it from scratch? Because I can have my 60-year-old father actually document the whole process while making the whole thing, but can you do the same for us, for someone who won the award, but they haven't received any reply from them, no follow-ups, nothing yet, so it's just there.
And that's what left a wrong message for the whole artisans community, that you know, like their hope to get recognized for something. I think it destroyed, and it's not only one person's story, but many people feel like betrayed. And that's why, you know, like we are trying to make as a transparent collaboration between any two people, whether the government and artisans, designer and artisans, or the business and artisans, or any other institution, as one-to-one possible. If we can do that, I think that's like a way forward for all of us.
Kuldip bhai, I wanted to ask one question. When I visited Bhujodi, I even visited those tourist handicraft shops which are right next to the cluster, if you're aware, and like it's right next to the cluster. There are these tourist handicraft shops. When the tourists visit, they buy you know, products from there. And I've seen so many examples of cultural appropriation there. There have been screen printed mushrooms. There have been all acrylic you know, shawls which they are selling, which are made on power looms, and they are selling it, calling it Kutchi shawls, and they are very cheap. And how is that affecting Bhujodi, like in general? Because these tourists are visiting to, you know, experience the local culture and, you know, all of that. And at the end of the day, they are buying something that is not local to the place. And how is it affecting the artisans in Bhujodi?
Right, thank you. When I પૂછાય કે જે ગામ में પાવડે ઘણી એવી દુકાન હોય એ મળે કોપી કરે છે, છાપેલી વસ્તુ બનાવે છે, કોઈ સ્ક્રીન પ્રિન્ટ કોઈ મળે કે કચ્છી સાલ કે ભુજોડી જે હથવાજી એના મળે ટાઇટલ દઈ અને વેચે પ્યા हिकिड़ी क़दम ई 5 ॼणा माण्हू जे पंहिंजा ॿिया सचा कारीगर आहिनि पंहिंजो नुक़सानु थिए पियो, जे माण्हू गनी वञे था त ही घणो थिए पियो, सॼे कच्छ में थिए पियो, भारत में थिए पियो। त हिन मथां के चवणो आहे कि ही सचा कारीगर जे सची वस्तु बनाए पिया, सचो वूल वापरे था, सचो ताणो वापरे था, जेकी के था हिनजी हरीफ़ाई में जे खोटो वापरे था, खोटो चईने वेके पिया, त हिनजी असर पंहिंजे धंधे ते, के पंहिंजी कारीगर कोई बाइयूं में कंहिंखे ॾियणो आहे ये वस्तु खबर है नी को थिए तो खबर है नी सब्जेक्ट की गांव में पावनो अथवा भुजोड़ी में वनो, भुज में वनो, ॿिए ठिकाणे वनो जिते पाण चए कि कच्छ जी साल आहे, कच्छ जी साड़ियूं आहे, हैंडीक्राफ्ट अथवा जीकी चओ हुन घणी वस्तु अहिड़ी आहे खाली नाला विझी ॾिए पर वास्तविक नथी वे। अने अहिड़ा घणे माण्हू अचे पिया, टूरिस्ट गने पिया, वापार थिए पियो अने पाण नेलियो पिया। हिन मथां कीअं तोखे की चवणो आहे, आके की चवणो आहे भाई? नहीं यार प्रश्न है, समझी गया मुझे? पहला 200 असल न करनी आया चोड़ा प्रश्न समझी नहीं नहीं अरे वो तो ये जीके में से हिंदी में
કેમ છે અમૃતા?
हिंदी प्लीज।
आज से शायद 50 साल पहले मशरूम के बहुत सारे व्यूअर्स होते थे, लेकिन आज आज के यहाँ पे लगभग 8-9 साल से मशरूम के सिर्फ 6-7 ही व्यूअर बचे हैं। उनमें से महिलाएं काम नहीं करती हैं, उनमें से मैं फर्स्ट ही हूँ जो मुझे मशरूम टिकाए रखना है। तो मशरूम क्या है, पावर लूम पे बहुत चलता है, तो कारीगर की कोई जरूरत नहीं रहती है। और मशरूम बहुत ही महंगा होता है, मतलब मीटर बहुत ज्यादा होता है, लेकिन मशीन पे कम रेट में मिलता है, तो वो ज्यादा पसंद करते हैं, खरीदना ज्यादा पसंद करते हैं। और वीविंग का पसंद नहीं करते हैं ज्यादा, क्योंकि वो उनको महंगा लगता है, तो वो डिफरेंट आ जाता है।
तो आपकी को
हमारा नुकसान ही हुआ ना, हमारे कारीगर भी बैठ गए, वो भी वीविंग करना बंद कर दिया।
So she has just shared that 50 years ago, for example, she's a mushroom weaver, which is like a silk and cotton mixed weaving. 50 years ago, people used to buy the real hand woven mushroom fabric, but as of now, there must be like hardly 6 or 7 weavers left. But many other machine makers, machine made fabric is produced and consumed or used by many people in the market. So I think as a result, the artisans who were making things by hand, now they're losing the market, and it is almost reached to an extinction level. So I think slowly, so again, coming back to the human rights thing, because of some machine or some fast producers or some new techniques or copying, I think it's indirectly or directly, we may say, that it's killing people on the ground, because who have inherited something from their family as a weaving, for example. Now, what they gonna do? Because they have spent all their life weaving, and that's the only education, that's the only knowledge they have. But now people are, like making out of machines, copying it and selling it, and now they're losing market. So in a long run, I think it has killed, in a way, it's a kind of, it's destroyed the whole community, the number of real makers. So I think that's where, again, human rights is challenged, and badly challenged. And we haven't learned, we haven't find way to address this to government level or social level that could educate the consumers that why they should not support the copy paste product, or why they should support the real craft makers.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We have one more question from Jessica Kuldip. Jessica is asking, what would you like your future as an artisan to be, or what would you like the future of your craft to be? Are there any goals that you're particularly working towards?
અને કારીગર તરીકે પાછી કલા એને ભવિષ્ય લાય પાછો વિચાર હતા સપના અહીંયા તો અહીં કોઈ ભવિષ્ય નહીં રહેતા કારીગર જો આજો પણજો અને આજે ક્રાફ્ટ જો અહીં પણ બોલી શકો તા અહીં ખાસ કાજલબેન તમે નવા છો અને તમે એકદમ આઈ થિંક આ પ્રશ્નનો જવાબ શું કામ કે તમે આ દિશામાં આગળ વધવા માંગો છો આવી જાઓ પ્લીઝ. We have a new member. Actually, she's a young student. Her name is Kajal, and she comes from Faro village. And she found United Artisans of Kutch on Instagram. So she contacted us that I'm going through some financial and family circumstances right now in my life. I'm a crochet artisan, and crochet is like hardly mentioned. When people talk about Kutch and arts and craft, we mostly talk about embroideries, weaving, printing, natural dyeing, and few other crafts. But nobody, or like hardly anybody, talk about crochet, which is like almost extinct here. But there are few, like in a pocket, there are few artisans like herself who exist. But we don't know how to like bring this story out. So she contacted us, and we say, why don't you join us? So today we are meeting her first time, and we thought that it is nice, to give you a chance to tell your story to us, to the audience, and we'll learn something from you, and we'll hope that we can do something together. So I think Kajal, I'd like to invite her to answer this, please. That how she, Gujarati, Hindi, whatever. તમારે વ્યક્તિગત રીતે તમારી એક કારીગર તરીકે અને તમારી જે કલા છે એને તમે ભવિષ્યમાં શું રીતે જોવો છો? We are encouraging her to speak.
Hello, my name is Kajal Lanecha. I am a crochet worker. At least my experience is 2 years. In Corona crisis, I start my work. For Corona crisis, I start my work at home. And now then my future in my dream to I a crochet worker expert. In every situation, I make my best to try my handwork. हिंदी में बोल सकते हूँ कहवाय ने कि मैं अपने काम के प्रति इतना अपना समर्पण देना चाहती हूँ कि मैं जो भी मुझे दिखता है वो मैं नहीं दिखाना चाहती मैं अपनी खुद की नई पहचान बनाना चाहती हूँ फर्स्टली आई मेक flowers and butterflies in work न्यू जो किसी ने आज तक नहीं किया ना वो मुझे करना है मैं अपने काम के प्रति मोस्ट ऑफ टाइम इन माय वर्क मुझे दुनिया को वो दिखाना है जो मेरी जो कला है उसके प्रति मुझे वो समर्पण देना है जो आज तक किसी ने नहीं दिया वो इन क्रोशिया मुझे क्रोशिया में जो सब लोग देते हैं ना वैसे लिटिल थिंग्स वैसे ही नहीं दिखाना है मुझे उसमें भी यूनिकनेस डालनी है लाइक क्रोशिया एंड एम्ब्रॉयडरी सेम मिक्स मैच करना है और फिर हमारे पास जो बाटिक की कुर्तीज और वो सब कला है उस पे भी मुझे क्रोशिया वर्क करके समथिंग न्यू प्रेजेंट करना है न्यू प्रेजेंट मेरी कला को आगे बहुत आगे तक लेके जाना है ऐसा मेरा ड्रीम है
Thank you, जी. Very. Shravani, over to you.
Yeah, what Kajal is saying here is that she doesn't want to just limit herself to the usual designs. She wants to create new designs, be inspired and create new designs, or even mix crochet and embroidery and do like literally like the sky is the limit kind of a thing for crochet, do whatever she can to promote her skills in crochet and put them out and as a craft for crochet to be recognized and make people understand that there's so many possibilities in that one craft also. So she wants to be that person who can put that out with all possible designs and all new kinds of designs and mix new things. So that's what Kajal is saying. Hope that answers your question, Jessica. Thank you, Kajal.
I have a question as well. Thank you, everybody. I wanted to know, my name is Nicole from Cultural Intellectual Property Rights Initiative as well. So thank you everyone for being here. And I would like to ask a question if a lot of the artisans prefer to create their own designs and work on their own things, or if they prefer to collaborate with other people from either within the community or outside the community, or a combination.
Okay, thank you. નિકોલ પ્રશ્ન પૂછ્યો બધાને કે તમે કારીગર પોતાનું કંઈક યુનિક બનાવીને કરવા માંગો છો પોતાની ડિઝાઇન પોતાની રીતે પોતાનો ધંધો કે કોઈ બીજા આપણા કમ્યુનિટીમાંથી સમાજમાંથી કારીગરોમાંથી અથવા બીજા બહારના લોકોમાંથી સાથે કોલેબોરેટ કરી કરવા માંગો છો અથવા બંને કરવા માંગો છો આપ તો કંઈ બોલ્યા નથી તો પ્લીઝ થોડો તમારો ના તૈયારી આપણે સાંભળો આપણે બધાએ નેચરલ જે અંદરની જે રિયલ જે છે આપણે બધા એવા માણસો છીએ આપણે એવું પ્લેટફોર્મ જે બનાવ્યું છે ને કે આમાં બધા ભેગા છીએ જે તમને એમ લાગે ખુલીને બોલજો પ્લીઝ આ તો મજા છે આપણી આપણે આ યુનાઇટેડ આર્ટિસ્ટ ઓફ કચ્છની મજા જ આ છે કે આમાં બધાને બોલવાનું છે બધાને ખુલીને રહેવાનું છે ના વિન્નર આ તો મજા આપણી સંસ્કૃતિની તાકાત છે તમે પ્રશ્ન સમજી ગયા
I would like to add some more. मैं ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि ये जो विवर्स है उन लोगों का एक संगठन है उसके पास जीआई टैग है तो जीआई टैग के जरिए लोग अपनी पहचान कस्टमर तक कर सकते हैं कस्टमर को समझा सकते हैं कि ये डुप्लीकेट है और जीआई वाला ही है ओरिजिनल है हमारा काम का
जी
जी
પણ જે આપણે પ્રશ્ન એ છે કે તમે વ્યક્તિગત કામ કરવા માંગો છો કે કોઈ બીજા ડિઝાઇનર से કોલેબોરેટ કરવા માંગો છો કે है?
अभी तो हम लोग जो चाकू बनाते हैं वो तो हमारा परंपरागत चल रहा है, वही है। इसमें कोई नए डिजाइन तो है नहीं, और नए डिजाइन कुछ चलती भी नहीं है यहाँ लोकल मार्केट में।
लेकिन आपकी क्या ख्वाहिश है, अगर आप इंडिविजुअली अपना बिजनेस खुद ऐसा बनाना चाहते हैं परंपरागत जो इसी शेप से, या किसी बाहर के डिजाइनर या फिर बाहर के लोग के साथ, या फिर कोई अपने लोकल स्थानीय लोग के साथ जुड़कर कुछ को डिजाइन करना चाहते हैं?
सब कुछ कर सकते हैं, लेकिन क्या मार्केट का प्रॉब्लम है हमारे पास, मार्केट नहीं है। मेहनत करिए मार्केट।
ओके श्रावणी।
He's saying that usually in the market, their designs, the traditional designs, are the ones that usually do sell, and they are willing. I mean, if Kuldeep even asked if you would like to work with designs from the designers given by the designers, and he said that yes, we can do all of that, is fine. But again, it's the market, especially the market around over there. The demand of the market is mostly of the traditional designs and of the traditional motifs. So those are the ones that have been going on forever, and these are the ones that they've been doing forever and practicing forever. So that's usually what they do.
આપણે ટૂંકમાં પોતાનો જે ધંધો કે પોતાની પરંપરા કલા છે એને જ આપણે એને આગળ વધારીને આગળ રાખવું છે કે ભવિષ્યમાં કોલેબોરેશન જે કઈ તકો મળે છે આજના સમયમાં એવી તકોને પણ લેવી છે? તમારી વ્યક્તિગત ઈચ્છા કે અનુભવ કે તમારી લાગણીઓ શું છે એના વિશે આપણે આવજો પ્લીઝ हिंदी में कहिए प्लीज।
इसमें ऐसा है कि हमारी जो ट्रेडिशनल डिजाइन है वो हमारा परंपरागत चल रही है। मतलब बाप दादा सब वही डिजाइन करते थे जो फॉल में यूज होती थी, जो हमारा पुराना ब्लैंकेट था उसमें यूज होती थी। तो वो तो हम ट्रेडिशनली रखना ही चाहते हैं। और अगर कुछ नया भी हमें मिलता है सीखने के लिए, किसी के साथ हम डिजाइनर है वो जो स्टूडेंट आते हैं तो वो भी हम सीखना चाहेंगे। तो ये तो हम दोनों चीज रखना चाहेंगे कि हमारा ट्रेडिशनल जो है डिजाइन है, जो परंपरागत चल रहा है वो भी हम रखना चाहेंगे।
Yeah, he's saying that, there are traditional designs and that they've been doing for generations, that have been passed down from generations. And these designs, they would definitely like to keep going and not let them kind of stop. But if the designers want to come and collaborate with them and want to kind of create new designs, then they're also willing to do that. It's just that, again, the whole process needs to be a more collaborative process. They're willing to learn all of it. It just has to be something where they can do it all together. I think we got dropped off, but hope that answered.
Yes, thanks, Shravani. Yeah, sometimes I think being on the ground, the phone cuts out when it overheats. So normally Kuldip will join back in a moment. Give him a couple of moments to join back. But I think it was a really great point, reflecting on when Kuldip was talking about that in 2023, he still thought that less than 20% of the collaborations were still quite not they weren't equal. And that was simply due to a lot of designers and outsiders not understanding sitting down and understanding the things like how a motif translates onto the loom. And I think that's a really tangible way for cultural intellectual property rights, being human rights, to be integrated into the creative and design process for textiles and fashion. So I think that's really interesting that he made that connection. It seems like a simple thing to just like sit down and learn about a technique before you design for that technique. But not doing that is impacting the livelihoods, and it's impacting their rights, their human rights, and like you said, destroying and even killing communities. So I think it's these tangible examples that make it actionable for some of us who aren't on the ground to be able to, do something about it and incorporate this into our creative and design process.
You also mentioned, that there are times, like you said, when the designs are given to them. So some of these designs and some of the motifs that they do, they've, again, as I mentioned, like they've been passed down from generations and they've been practicing for generations. So people or new designers or students sometimes come and may have theoretical knowledge about it, but practically they will just like put a little design and give them the design and want them to recreate these designs. But these are like not physically possible for them to do, like how he mentioned that there are certain restrictions on the ways that the loom works and the graphics in the way that they work. So again, all of this is just giving equal rights and equal collaboration to that. So that's what we say when cultural IP rights are human. It's a rights-based approach. It has to be equal. If the designer wants something, they need to have the artisans in the conversation and just have all of them come together, sit together, have a conversation, and then come up with that piece. So, I mean, this is like really as basic as it gets. Kuldip is joining in.
Yeah. And I also think that it's, textiles isn't the main outcome. I think that connection and understanding of cultural intellectual rights being human rights, textiles is just a pathway to be able to understand that. And the textiles are just a byproduct of us actioning cultural intellectual property rights. Okay, Kuldip is connected.
Yeah, connecting.
Great.
Oh,
he's gone again. We'll give him another minute to join. Otherwise, we've hit an hour. We might finish up. Does anyone have any other questions? Or he's back again.
Any thoughts?
If anyone's got any last questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the chat, even if it's just a reflection about something that you learned.
Right.
And if you want to add, put that on social media as well with all of our tags, that will be great. Kuldip, you're back. How are you?
We are back. Our phone got
great.
overheated. Anyway, we are back.
Great. We were just kind of reflecting on some of the things that you were saying. Did you have any kind of final thoughts or anything that you would want people, what's your main takeaway that you want people to, go out into the world with knowing from this conversation?
Of Kutch and all my friends and artisans today who joined the final takeaway for today's episode, I, on behalf of team, like to share that if we are genuinely talking about human rights, and when the artisans are part of it, on the ground in this subject, I think the first thing we need to do that sit with them on the ground to understand their social, economical, and technical work. That should be the first basic rule. As we say, 3C rule, right? Consent, credit, and compensation. Similarly, any designer, any business, anything, has to do anything with any artisan anywhere in the world. I think the best, the thing or the first thing I wish that we do that, we sit with them and listen them and understand them better before we move on to any collaboration. So that's what I think I like to take away. I mean, send the message across the world on behalf of my team. That sit together, listen them first, and then we do collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think that's a really lovely way to wrap up because it does make it tangible. It is something this is something that can be actioned. It's something that can be incorporated into the creative process. And it's something that designers can actually know what they need to do. And like we were saying before, when you cut out for a moment, that the textiles can just be, they're just a byproduct of us understanding each other as humans and respecting the rights and cultural intellectual property rights of other people. The textiles are a beautiful byproduct of that, but not the main not the main purpose. So thank you for providing that tangible, actionable connection between textiles and cultural intellectual property rights being human rights.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuldip. Thank you to all the artisans and all the audiences. Everyone who has joined today is also saying thank you to everyone and all the artisans for such an open and honest conversation, and just telling us about what it is like to be there on ground and how it is to work with businesses and brands, and what are some of the things, as Nicole mentioned, some of the actionable things that we can all take back from here. So thank you again for that, and thank you to all the members who joined today. We look forward to seeing more of you all in the coming sessions in the Cultural IP Month. If you would like, you can share this on your social media, do tag us, and we'll be in touch, all of us. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you.